Hi, I'm Troy Bailey, and welcome to the Comic Book Movie Collector's Guide, the show about collecting all things superhero cinema. And today we are looking at The New Mutants. Let's get into it. The New Mutants is a live-action superhero film with a runtime of 94 minutes. The film was released into theatres on the 28th of August 2020 and was later released on DVD, Blu-ray and 4K HD on the 17th of November 2020 by Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment. It was directed by Josh Boone and written by Josh Boone and Knate Lee, with the film being produced by 20th Century Studios and Marvel Entertainment, and distributed by 20th Century Studios. The film was plagued with bad luck and referred to as being cursed, as the movie was set for release on the 13th of April 2018, but with the studio takeovers, planned reshoots, and COVID-19, it was rescheduled several times before it was finally released into theatres 2 years later in 2020. The plot of the film has 5 young mutants who are just discovering their abilities and are being held in a secret facility against their will. They will all have to come to terms with their past sins and learn to work together to fight a mysterious force that is manifesting their worst nightmares. Okay, the disc in case. So I have the Blu-ray edition here, and as you can see, it's got all of them on the front there. It doesn't give you the impression it's a superhero movie, that's for sure. I mean, okay, maybe her there with the sword, but still no one in any sort of superhero suits or whatever else, so it doesn't really give off that impression to begin with. I do like the logo, the New Mutants. That looks kind of cool. I like that. As far as the back goes, very thrown together, shall we say, very quick. Not a lot going on, like 2 or 3 pictures. Not a lot of effort going into that. Now, if we look at the disc, same deal. We've got a color disc. That's a bonus, but it's just the logo. That's it. Nothing special at all. Overall, I reckon I could have knocked this up in a few hours on Photoshop. This is pretty ordinary. There's not a lot going on here. Nothing special. Doesn't pop out on the shelf. Overall, I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. The story and the script. So the story itself comes off as almost like a Netflix show pilot to a series, other than a movie, I suppose. I mean, there were plans for a trilogy of these movies, so I think that's why it kind of feels like it was just kind of setting up to bigger things. But overall, the main problem for this movie was it was trying to be too many things at once, you know, like this jack of all trades but master of none. You know, with it being a superhero, horror, coming of age, young adult, drama. Yeah, I think that's everything.
It's true.
It was meant to be scary and billed as this superhero horror story, but it kind of failed to get scary at times, with it almost being like funny at points where it really wasn't supposed to be, you know, when it was supposed to be building the tension to scare you, but you just kind of had you laughing. Look, I like that they tried something different in this superhero genre, but because they tried to do many things, I think ultimately that's why the movie sort of missed its mark. You know, too much, and it just became a bit of a mess. So with that, I'm going to give this a score of 10 out of 30. From page to screen. Now, this is based off the New Mutants comics, which I wasn't really into back in the day. I knew of them, but you know, I wasn't really into the X-Men or anything at the time. But so I'm not overly familiar with the characters. Now, the story itself is actually based off the Demon Bear storyline, which appeared in the New Mutants comics back in the 80s, to which I've read online was a great storyline from what I've read, but unfortunately didn't really translate up on the big screen. Now, as far as the characters go, Look, no one stood out, but one thing that did stand out for me was that everyone was playing different nationalities, but everyone seemed to fall in and out of their accents, which kind of added to the humour that really wasn't meant to be there. But as far as the acting goes, it was, what can I say, very average performances from everyone. It just kind of made it feel a bit blah. With the likes of Blue Hunt as Danielle Moonstar, aka Mirage, Macy Williams as Renee Sinclair, aka Wolfsbane, Anna Taylor-Joy as Ileana Rasputin, aka Magic, Charlie Heaton as Samuel Guthrie, aka Cannonball, and Henry Zaga as Robert DeCaster, aka Sunspot. All up, just average across the board. Look, there's not much else I can give this other than 10 out of 20. Special features. So there are a few special features on here with some deleted scenes, origins and influences, Meet the New Mutants, audio commentary, and trailers. Over your sort of stock standard stuff, really. I did like the Origins and Meet the New Mutants features. It give it some sort of insight into what the movie was about and kind of what they were aiming for. But unfortunately, didn't really achieve. Anyway, look, with that, I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. Critics review. Now, the critic score came in at 35% and the audience score was 56%. For me, I think the critic score is a little harsh, but not undeserved either. This is where I think the audience score kind of got it right, as the movie is, well, it's very average to say the least. And like I said before, it's one of those movies that was a jack of all trades but a master of none. Anyway, if we round up the score, we get a grand total of 4 out of 10. My review. For me, this movie was, I can't say, just plain boring. That's it. Like I said before, look, I was not overly familiar with the New Mutants characters or the comic books, so no real preloaded expectations there. Though I was intrigued by the idea of adding this horror aspect to a superhero movie, but like most of these things in this movie, I ended up being disappointed! You know, to the predictable script in which there was no real surprise, as you kind of figured out early on what was creating all the bad things that were happening to the characters straight away, you know, kind of almost at the start of the movie, which was supposed to be like this big reveal near the end, which was very anticlimactic to say the least. And this movie also was also unintentionally funny in spots like, I'll just give you an example of one scene. So the doctor who was looking after them in the facility, she was running to this climactic part in the movie, and you know, it was really trying to build some tension on the screen, but she does this funny little run, and me and my daughter were just in hysterics with laughter, which just kind of killed anything they were going for. And I mean, that's just one example of how this movie just kind of kept missing the mark, I suppose, on all levels, from just being funny when it wasn't supposed to be and all that type of stuff. So look, overall, all I'm going to give this is a score of 7 out of 20. Final thoughts. So first up is collectability, and if we look on the collector scale, I would say this would be for your comic book geek and up, or maybe a big X-Men fan. It doesn't really have much going for it. And I saw one person online say that this would become a cult classic. No, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I think that's a bit of a stretch. Anyway, now as far as availability goes, this one is definitely on the common side of things. Not hard to find anywhere in your local retail outlets or online, with all versions readily available. Now, as far as your average price goes, you're looking at anywhere from between $9 to $22 on DVD, $10 to $28 on Blu-ray, and $15 to $36 on 4K HD. Now, of course, now for the final score, we get a grand total of 41 out of 100. Now that's kind of par for the course for this score. For this movie, it was a real, forgettable, average, run-of-the-mill movie. That's it. They just couldn't decide what it really wanted to be in the end.
And you mutants. We know.
Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, why not hit the like, subscribe, and notification buttons, as it really helps the channel out. And I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much to you and everyone else who already has. Also, why don't you let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this movie and if you've got a copy in your collection. Also, if you'd like to request something on the show, like another review, or you want to see something else, by all means, you can contact me via email at thecomicbookmoviecollector@gmail.com, or you can hit me up on the socials at comicbookmoviecollector on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All links will be down below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.